This is the Veteran Woman Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to empowering, inspiring, and encouraging veteran women to overcome their struggles and celebrate their successes. Now, here's your host, the one and only Ariel Renal.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Veteran Woman Podcast. This is Ariel Renal, and today I am so excited because I'm speaking with a woman veteran, and actually she's active duty, but she doesn't serve in the U.S. military. She serves in the Irish Defense Forces. I don't even know what they're called. She's in Ireland and she's in the military. So it's so exciting to me to see and hear about a woman serving in the military in another country. So thank you, Amy, so much for coming on. Let's start with you telling us a little bit more about yourself and giving us the terms in the Irish way. So Irish military, if you're active duty, or how all of that goes.
Hi, Ariel. Thanks so much for having me on today. So my name is Sergeant Amy OConnor, and I'm a sergeant in the Irish Defence Forces. I suppose my rank is similar to your OR6 or OR7 staff sergeants. I have 20 years service in the Defence Forces, and in that 20-year service, I suppose like everybody, I've done so much and seen loads of different parts of the world that the usual person on the street doesn't get to see, which is always kind of good because we can really see the differences in the world. And I suppose it really kind of underpins why we're actually in the military in the first place, to be honest, because I think you do have to be of a special nature and character to be there. So my background is in communications. So obviously we all start out our training where our bread and butter is the infantry first and foremost. So we all have to be tactical infantry, teeth of the military, boots on the ground soldier first. And then I moved into communications. So our communications is called the Communications, Informations and Systems Core. So basically it's everything from the radio systems that the US Army use. We have them here as well. We also have, so it's VHF, HF and other various things as well. We also look after the computer side of the house, so especially from overseas, backing up the guys when they're away from home, making sure that their link home is good and connecting up then with the Irish Defence Forces on land. I suppose the differences in the Irish Defence Forces that we are quite small as a force. Well, look, Ireland is like teeny tiny anyway, but our Defence Forces at the moment is in around 9,000 people, and that's divided into 3 sections.
Oh,
so
wow.
the Irish, it's very small, but the Irish Defence Forces is split into 3. So you have the Air Force, the Naval Service, and then you have the Army. Like that, we have huge commitments within Europe and with our overseas tours as well. And we serve a lot with you guys in various different places. It's just the only difference really between the two of us is that our mandates are very, very different. I suppose outside of that, where am I now? I suppose I have gone back to my infantry roots only of March of this year due to life changes, let's call it that. I'm a mum. I'm married. When did we get married? 2006. I know, I had to forget.
Usually the woman remembers when the anniversary date is.
Yeah. So we got married, myself and my husband Tom. He's in the military as well. He's in the Transport Corps. So he's a driving instructor and tutor and trainer and all that kind of jazz. So we got married in 2006 and we have 2 little girls, 7 and 4. And I think this year for myself, because my husband went overseas, he was deployed to Mali. Mm-hmm. So when he was away, I think it's very important for one of us to be at home. And since that he couldn't be at home, I needed to be at home for the kids, to be there for them, to be a support there for them, and to get them to everything that a child deserves in life, to have somebody sit and do their homework with them, or to get them to swimming or get them to soccer or whatever that they are doing. Especially when the other parent, I think, is away, because it gives them, you're the only stability that they have for that period in time. And I think as a youngster, it's very, very important to have that. Mm-hmm. So I left the unit that I was working in. I was working on the far side of Ireland. So I suppose location-wise, where am I? If you think of Ireland as a whole and go to this very centre of the country, that's where I live and work right now. But up until March of this year, if you go to the east of the country, I was working over there, up not too far from Dublin. So it was a bit of a journey every day as well. So I think work-life balance brought me back home. Went back to my roots, as I said, in the infantry. And I'm now the training NCO for the troops that we have in the barracks. So I look after their careers, their trainings, their fitness, their health. And outside of that, then I run some logistical accounts as well. So that's quite a lot of responsibility, I suppose, for one particular person. We're not in the place that we can have one person, one job. Everybody, especially middle-ranking personnel, are multitasking all of the time, every day.
Same with us.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to keep all those balls juggling and not drop them. And I think that's where, I suppose, my coaching role has led me, and it has very much helped me in my military development as well as my personal development. And I suppose that's the new chapter in life where I'm going at the minute. So I suppose the personal development within the military is something that's very, very concerning at the minute over here. But it's something that's been looked at and something that's been worked at. And I'm hugely invested in that, because for all of our lives, as military, we rely on each other, because at the end of the day, regardless of what country you're in, we're all one family. And when you come from a military family, regardless of where you are in the world, you have this innate respect and response and camaraderie with each other. Mm-hmm. And you have this bond that no other civilian person in the world is going to have. And it's through the trainings that we have, it's through the mindsets that I won't say given to us, it's kind of forced upon us in training, I suppose. But it's not until you come to the other side of that you realise the benefit of it and how it was to help you. And it's your mindset then going forward, dealing with the changes, dealing with yourself and your life, taking the experiences, and they're not always good experiences either, and moulding them into the best that can make you, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think for the military coaching side of the house, the personal development, it's huge. I mean, it's something that needs to be developed all of the time, because the world is changing every single day. So that's kind of, I suppose, 20 years ago to now in very, very few minutes.
I was sitting here like, okay, I don't have to ask her anything.
Yeah.
She's just rolling on.
I'm a typical Irish girl. Just give me a cup of tea and let me on. I'm fine. I'll sort it out. I'll ramble on here.
Okay, so a couple of things that really caught my attention. That 9,000. So the 9,000 is a total of the Air Force, and what was the other one? The Navy and the Army?
That's correct, yeah.
Only 9,000. That's probably the size of one of our divisions. And actually, I think one of our divisions is larger than that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just Army. I'm just talking about Army right now, not even getting on like Marines and Air Force and Navy and Coast Guard. Uh-huh. Wow. So
go on.
How many women are serving?
Oh, wow. Very small number. I think approximately within the three sectors, so within the Army, the Navy and the Air Force, we have 450 serving members approximately. Because females were only allowed to join the, I suppose back then it was called the Permanent Defence Forces, or the Irish Army, from 1981. So it's not really that long ago that we've actually been allowed to serve our country. And I suppose for each platoon that is trained, wherever it is that you're trained, because you can train anywhere in the country, you're only getting approximately between 5 and 10 females per platoon. And not all of them pass out in their training.
So how has it been for you as a woman in the military when it's male dominated?
For me, let me see. Well, I suppose I kind of gel really well in a male-dominated environment, probably because I suppose I'm a country girl. Like my lifestyle, I'm a farmer's daughter, so I very much grew up in the country, and I was surrounded by boys from all of my life. So I would have a lot more male friends than I would have female friends. I've been like that, though, all of my life. The challenges, I suppose, so I didn't really, did I find it challenging? No, not really. But I came into the military at the age of 18 years of age. So I came out of my school. I didn't go to college. I went straight into the military. I suppose as a young woman that hadn't really seen a whole lot of the world, and I was very, very sheltered. I found it, I'm trying to think of the right word. I found I was very quiet in it at the beginning, even though myself personally, I'm not a quiet person.
I can tell that now. And not in a bad way, but
yeah, no,
I can tell you're
I
the kind of person that stands up for yourself and for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I learned to do that through seeing living my experiences and taking those experiences from the military. And looking back now, obviously I can look back on my 20 years and go, holy crap, why did I accept that? And why did I not put myself forward there? And why did I not believe in myself enough to be more? And I think as a female in a male-dominated environment, your voice is not heard as strong as what it could be, because I don't have the confidence to project that how I think it should be projected, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So like a guy will project themselves a lot better, more confidently. They'll put themselves forward for something, whether they can do it or not. It doesn't make a difference. But for me anyway, definitely, if I couldn't do something, I would not put myself forward. I would not put my hand up for it. I would not go for that particular promotion or that job or whatever the case was. Probably because I didn't have the confidence to do it. And judgment was a big thing. I think in most militaries, judgment is the thing. And it's not just curtailed to one particular gender or group. But for me, the judgment piece was always very, very, very to the front. I found that always very difficult to deal with. But like that, it's through the personal development of myself that I've been able to, I suppose, deal with that and not allow it to be a factor in what I do and what I choose to do. Whereas I think in my younger days, I think I definitely did. If somebody told me I was shit, well, I believe that. And if somebody told me I couldn't do something, well, I believe that too. And that was not how things should have been. But like that, because I suppose the females were so few, we'd all sit and chat to one another, and we're still great friends to this day. We always will be. They are definitely my sisters my other sisters, let's call it. We have the same challenges. We have the same issues. We have each other's back at the same time, regardless of what's going on in the military or outside the military. So if there was more females in the army, would we have that same camaraderie? Would we have that same friendship? I don't know. So I think there's two sides to the coin to it. I am happy, we probably know from one end of the country to the other, we probably know each other, who's where, what year they came in, what their family status is now. It is very tight like that.
So speaking of the culture of while being in and serving and being one of the few females serving, I don't know how often you follow or how much you follow or if you follow the U.S. military, but one of our big issues is sexual assault and sexual harassment. Do you see that in the Irish Defence Forces?
Lately, when I say lately, I suppose in the last, let's generalize it, I suppose 10 years, there has been, I won't say a lot, but there has been more people speaking of sexual assault. Has it become an issue, or has it become something that needs to be, well, don't get me wrong, there's no such thing as a good assault at all, doesn't even go there. Mm-hmm. Is it a problem? I don't know if it's a problem or not. I have heard lots of things, but it's a lot of speak and words. There has been assaults and they have been dealt with quite severely. There is no excuse. There is no, there's no room for somebody who acts like that in the Irish Defence Forces. Regardless of who you are, regardless of what your rank is, it just does not happen. It's spoken about a lot more, especially in the last, say, maybe 3 or 4 years. People are more vocal about it. And there's just no room for it. It's as simple as that.
Now, I have another hot topic I want to talk about. Suicides in your military, either in the military or people after they transition out of the military. Is that prevalent?
Yes, it is. What we found, mental health is a huge, let's call it topic in our Defence Force at the minute, and our well-being and our mindset and how we view things and people and situations and all that kind of thing. So suicide within the forces, I think in the last number of years, Ireland as a whole, as a nation, has dealt with suicides of older persons and persons that, and when I say this, please take me please take me how I mean it. This is not meant to be stereotypicalized or anything like that. But people make judgments on people that, take their own lives. And you often hear words floating around. Somebody could make a throwaway remark kind of saying, but sure, you could see that coming or something along those lines, which is a completely awful thing to say. But the non-typical type of person in Ireland have been taking their own lives in the last number of years, and they have attributed it to the downturn in the economy, the financial pressures that people have placed upon themselves or have placed their families in, the judgments, the egos that people have. You know, the saying that, what's it? I can't remember it. Keeping up with the Joneses. So you have to keep a particular persona, a particular car in your yard, a particular job. You have to be all of these false, I suppose, material things. But behind it all, you're sinking. And the Defence Forces very much came in under that as well. There was a lot of very, very, very good people. And for one reason or another, financially, for health matters, for maybe issues within the Defence Forces in relation to, say, taking drugs. And when I say taking drugs, I mean, say, malaria-type tablets or something along those lines. It has been said that a lot of the suicides had been contributed to this matter, to taking these drugs, because this is what the soldiers were given when they were going away overseas. That is yet to be proven. That's actually, cases are ongoing in the High Court at the moment. But there has been a lot of suicides in the Irish Defence Forces in the last, I say, 2 years.
Do you have that number, that statistic roughly?
No, I don't, but I can definitely get it for you again.
And I know one is too many. Here in the States, the catch number, so you know that it could go either way, less or more, is 22 soldiers / veterans a day. Jesus, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. I think because our forces are so much smaller than yours, I don't think that number, and again, it's just my own recollection of it, would be close to that. I honestly hope it wouldn't be close to that. But like you say, one person is too much. Mm-hmm. But the persons that are, say, transitioning out of the services, because we don't have I won't call it like an aftercare service or a service, say, for veterans or for people that have served, the older veteran that's leaving finds it very, very difficult to, I suppose, walk out of the barracks, to leave the identity of a soldier behind them, to not have the uniform to get into day after day after day. After serving, it could be anything from 21 years right up to, 35 or 36 years. They have been very much institutionalized, and it's that institutionalized person that I would worry about going outside, because if they have not invested in themselves whilst in the military, they all of a sudden become isolated outside, and they don't know where to turn to, and they don't know where to go to, and they don't understand the way of the civilian world, because for all of their lives they've had a military looking after them. And I know we've spoken about this before. With us, we do have transition programs, and so they'll talk about resumes, education, veterans benefits, topics such as that. But one of the things that was not covered, I transitioned out about 3.5 years ago, one of the things that was not covered is that emotional side. So like you said, the loss of identity. I did 12 years and I felt a loss of identity. It was like, wait a minute. Okay. Culture shock. It's truly a culture shock because you're going from one culture to another, even though you're like, okay, I'm still in the US. I'm going back home. Everybody speaks English. It's home, you know, it's still different because we've grown up, mindsets, people have changed, you have changed, and nobody really touches on that and talks about that part of the transition.
Absolutely. You're dead right. And it's actually very fitting that we're having this conversation now because today I was up in Donegal, which is the north end of the country, and ourselves and our representative union, in accordance with another governmental body, let's say, we've put this service together called Transition Services. So it's the very, very, very first start to what you guys already have in place. So we're trying to actually get these services in place now for the persons that are looking to transition out. And as you quite rightly said, it covers everything from your CV services, you know, your financial assistance, information about various different benefits, but the personal development as well is brought into it. Your education, or if you want to continually, you know, develop yourself, is brought into this as well. It's a fantastic initiative. Like we have in the military what's called a pre-retirement course. But like that, it's very difficult to get. You have to be X amount of time away from your retirement date.
Same here.
Yeah. So, and because they're not, and it's all military, it's completely and utterly the military side of the house. There is no personal development side of the house there at all. So it's like it's missing, you know, if you've got a 3-legged stool, it's like it's missing one leg. And that person will find it more difficult to be the resilient, fantastic person they are when they relieve the barracks because they don't know how. They don't have those skill sets. They don't have those tools. And like you know yourself, when we're training to be a soldier, we're broken down because we need to be built back up again because the jobs that we have to do are not your normal office, run-of-the-mill, you know, 9 to 5 kind of job where you get to go home every single evening. They're very, very different in very, very different cultures in very, very different parts of the world. So you got to get on and get over them. But as we get on in the military, on this side of the world anyways, we forget that we're actually, you know, 360-degree human beings made up of flesh and nerves and energy and blood and heart and soul and mind and spirit and body. And we forget that there's a soft side of us. And that soft side gets left behind until you're standing and realize that, okay, all this hard shit that I've been doing all these years, I can't do that anymore. And then they call up on their personal side and you're kind of going, okay, I've left that somewhere, I don't know, the Lebanon maybe, you know, 20 years ago. And they don't know what to do. And it's a really, really, really sad state of affairs. So today's day, I suppose, was to give lots of various different information to guys that could possibly be considering leaving, considering transitioning into the civilian world, point them in the direction of jobs if they wish to work again, of volunteer services if they wish to volunteer their time, because a lot of guys love doing that kind of job because as a soldier, we probably join the military to give back. And we probably join the military to help others and to be that rock for someone else when someone else can't be that rock for themselves. And to, I suppose, leave the forces and go out into the civilian world and to be that person in a civilian role. Well, that can be the difference between somebody, you mean, falling into a depression and somebody being active and enjoying the rest of their days, which is what they should be doing.
So are you worried about your transition?
No, I won't lie. I'm not worried about it. I have to pull on my courage to make that final step. Actually, I was just chatting to my husband about it before we started talking. And I suppose, okay, I've got a year left, so I got my options to leave next September if I wish. And at that time, then I will have 21 years service done, which is great. I'm not 40 yet, so I have my entire life ahead of me, which is even better. So I have the decision to make. Do I stay in the military and stay in an organization that my heart and soul is just not there? I love it for everything that I have done in it and it has done for me. But I think my time is coming that I need to close that chapter and open up a new one. And I need to take all of my military experiences with me and develop the new me, I suppose, on the other side of the gate. And I need to find that courage to actually do that. But before I do anything or go anywhere, one of the huge things that I'm massively passionate about is to bring military life coaching into the Irish Defence Forces in some way, shape or form, so that there is another door, let's say, for somebody to knock on, or another support for somebody to ring or to go to your office or your place of employment, wherever. Mm-hmm. And an ear to listen. Because I think sometimes I'm hilarious for it. Like, I talk and talk and talk, but I can listen and listen and listen as well. Do you know? And I think to be that listening ear for somebody is probably somebody's saving grace at the end of the day too. And that's important. So before I go anywhere, these are the small things that I won't say ensure that is set up, but I definitely want to start the ball rolling on them. And it's a legacy piece then that I leave behind. And if I have a good legacy piece left behind me and good foundation set in that, I'd be happy going.
It feels like you are a sister on another continent. I know the first time we spoke, it's like we were saying almost the same thing as far as our passion and dealing with the issues with transition. And even like now when we're talking, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't think I knew you were in communications. Did you know I was in communication? That was my main thing. And just the passion around transition and bringing coaching into that process and bringing coaching and personal development into the military itself while people are still, active duty. That's like the same thing I've been wanting to do as well, because I think it's so important. Yeah. And
oh, absolutely.
It's just amazing how we connected. And I mean, I always tell people it's the power of networking and the power in relationships and the ability to learn. I get to learn about your country and the defense forces there. And you get to learn about the U.S. military and maybe learn some things like, oh, okay, that side of your transition program works. Let's try implementing this over here and vice versa. Absolutely.
We are very, very similar in that respect, that taking it's the personal development of the human. At the end of the day, take the uniform off, we're all human. And I think sometimes we need to realize that and maybe not shy away from it, because I suppose as soldiers, we have this persona of being big and strong and, we're invincible and nothing is ever going to happen. And, then you take off the uniform and it's like, okay, I'm a mother now again, and I'm a wife, and I'm a sister and a daughter, and I'm a volunteer, and I'm a football coach, and I'm a, whatever. A friend, actually, a very good friend of mine, she calls me, what she call me? She calls me Barbie, because every time she actually sees me, I'm in like a different role. So like one day she'll see me, I'm in my military uniform. Another day she'll see me, I'm in, say, football coaching gear. Another day she'll see me, I'm in business mode, as in like coaching mode. Another day she'll see me and I'm at like a
now, wait a
networking
minute.
event.
That football, is it like American football or is it soccer?
Good God, neither. We have our own 100% Irish brand of what's called GAA, which is the Gaelic Athletic Association. So we play football very differently in Ireland. Now, don't get me wrong, we have soccer too, but no, with our football, we use our hands and our feet.
Oh, so like our football are still completely different.
Oh yeah, totally different, 100%. Like your football, like there's loads of people and pads and rules, and the games go on forever and a day. Good God. I have yet to get that tailgating thing. I went to, right? We have American... Right, here's a good one, right? In Ireland, every year, we have like the American colleges games. I'm not quite sure what league they come into. But anyhow, this year... Was it this year? No, last year. I said to my husband, okay, we'll get the train up. We'll have a great day. We'll go see the game. Fantastic. I didn't realize, and I'm sure this is not how the day goes, but I was actually drinking like all day at this match, and I'm going, when does this finish? I was drunk leaving the stadium. I went to a sports game and I was leaving the stadium. I don't know how that happens. And it was just hilarious. It really, really was hilarious. But the crowd was fantastic. The atmosphere was amazing. The music, the bands, the cheerleaders, it was like the best thing I have ever seen. I mean, I'm really looking forward to next year's game whenever it comes back. I think it's in the beginning of the summer it comes over. It was absolutely amazing. Like, that's what games are like, football games over in the US all the time. I'm there next year, definitely.
Yeah, so I need to bring you to a Texas high school game. Oh my goodness, you would love it. Because that's a big thing in Texas. Friday night lights, yes. It's like
that. It sounds deadly. It really does. That really, really sounds cool.
Okay, any last points you want to make, or golden nuggets of wisdom you want to give?
Information. Okie dokie. I suppose, okay, do the military side of the house. I suppose as a female in the military, I think, especially nowadays, it's very, very important to support each other. Like, it's amazing actually that we're speaking, and like, the two of us have, suppose, a digital mind or a digital background, because that's where we like to do things, you know, and this is how we network, which is fantastic. But I think the digital world has taken us so far to the point that sometimes we forget to have a face-to-face conversation. And I personally like the face-to-face person, you know, literally the 360 person that's sitting in front of you. And because I think you can get so much from a person if you actually sat and gave them a smile and said hello, because you're making that person's day that little bit brighter, because a smile will always brighten a room. And I think we have to, so as women in the military, we have to support each other, support our challenges, support our issues, be the supportive ear and the hand when somebody needs a hand, regardless of rank. And I know that might sound a bit out there, I suppose, but from our own side of the house, because we are so few, if we don't do it, the world is not going to be, we're killing opportunities for young girls left, right and centre if we don't do it. So, like, for example, we have the Defence Forces Women's Network, which was started November of 2016. And it's an initiative that was brought about due to retention and promotion of women who wish to work and promote themselves in the Defence Forces. So we kind of took, Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. We've kind of taken her slant and taken her roadmap, I suppose, and have made it our own so that we have something to work on. Okay. That has been absolutely phenomenal. I know that there's a Lean In military network in the US, and I actually have some connections there. And the Lean In Military Spouses is actually a new chapter coming to Ireland, which is absolutely fantastic, because there has been no support for the spouses of people within the military, which is very strange that nobody ever thought to do anything about that until this year. So I suppose definitely help each other. Realise as well, because we're in a male-dominated environment, to understand that something that's going on or a judgment that's been passed is not actually about you. It says more about the other person than it does about yourself. So not to let yourself be ruled by that, and to be able to stand in your own confidence, in your own boots, and say, you know what, not my monkeys, not my circus. Don't take it on. There is absolutely no point in taking it on, because, you know, you have your own shit to deal with. Why deal with somebody else's at the same time? You know?
Now is your chance to give your shameless plugs. How do we get in touch with you?
So you can find me at Amy OConnor. I am on LinkedIn at Amy OConnor. I'm also on Instagram. You can email me at motivatetogrow@gmail.com. And if anyone else wants to contact me, they can contact you and you can put them in touch with me. How's about that?
Now, did I say I would put them in touch with you? No.
Not telling, asking. Friends, sisters across the pond, my dear.
Definitely get in touch with me, get in touch with Amy, get in touch with me to get in touch with Amy. And I know you're 6 hours ahead, so it's 11 p.m. there?
Correct.
All right. So I will not continue to hold you any longer. And I thank you. I really appreciate you for serving in the Irish Defence Forces and for sharing your story and giving us some insight on the lives of women veterans, or from the point of view of a woman veteran serving in the military from another country. That's just amazing. I could keep you on here all day asking you a million questions just to compare the differences.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's been fantastic. And again, thank you for all that you have done and for all that you're doing, because you're definitely a leader in this world and we need more of you. So thank you, Ariel.
Likewise. Same to you. Ditto.
Ditto, sister.
You've been listening to the Veteran Woman Podcast. If you want to connect with Ariel and let her know what you thought of today's show, be sure to head over to www.theveteranwoman.com and follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @The Veteran Woman.